Well, goddamn. If it don't get more real than that, well, that was straight to the point.
Watch them grow, perceive, devote. This is the seed, light the show. Watch them grow.
Hey guys, Princess India here for the 9 in the 2000 what's not, or whatever.
You know what I'm saying?
The purpose of this intro is to break down to you everything that I usually say in the beginning of each sign's video, but the intention of it is to cut down on time so we can jump straight into the messages and into the reading. I decided to be really extra and separate this into X.
X number one.
I start with a pick a card. Now, what is the purpose of the pick a card? The purpose of the pick a card is actually the extended reading. So the 3 cards that we pick are actually never really talked about here. I don't want to send everyone over to Vimeo to get an extended that they may not need. So in the event that you watch the YouTube general and you feel that you need a little bit something extra and you decided to pick a card in the very beginning, you would follow me over to Vimeo at the end of the video and you would go by that group that you picked. Act number 2. Right before we get into the cards, usually around the time that I'm shuffling, I give you guys any intuitive messages or visions that I saw for your particular sign. The whole purpose of this is to set your energy and to set your intention and to give you guys a general energy for the month in accordance with whatever comes out with the cards. Act numero 3. It's number 3. Act number 3 is just a reading. It's not awkward. So anywho, let's get into your reading. Hello Capricorn, welcome to your November reading and what's not or whatever. Hopefully you watched the intro so you know what we're about to jump into. So go ahead and pick either card 1, 2, or 3 for our pick a card. And then I will get into you guys' intuitive message, which was rather interesting. Capricorn. I saw something, but it's not really so much what I saw. It's more or less about what it is that I felt. Because all I saw was a person who was sitting and their arms folded, which really didn't tell me much of anything. But with me kind of sitting with that, it's more or less... I mean, how can I put it? It feels to me that there's more of I don't even know how to say that. It's okay. Analysis paralysis would probably be the best way. It's more or less that what it is that you guys need or want this month. It's not that you guys are pining over something or something that's out of reach. It feels to me more or less obsessing over the approach, if that makes sense. So whether that's in, going to ask your boss for a promotion or a raise, and it's like, the opportunity is very much there, but the reason why you guys aren't taking it is more or less because you're trying to make sure, and I'm not saying that that's literally what's going on, but it's like the energy more or less that I'm feeling is obsessing over how to approach something. So it's like seeing a person with their arms folded is just complete and utmost inaction. But the sense that I get is, although it's a muted external disposition or stance, it's almost like there's a tornado or a whole bunch of chaos going on inside. And I feel that more in the sense of like ruminating thoughts. But if you pick card 1, 2, or 3, if you pick card number 1, we have joy. If you pick card number 2, we have soulmate. How fascinating. And if you pick card number 3, we have enlightenment. Somebody else had that. I don't remember who it was. But group number 1, that's your solar plexus chakra. Group number 2 is root chakra. And group number 3 is solar plexus. But yeah, the vibe that I get is like it's almost like ruminating. And it's analysis paralysis in the sense that, and I don't know, it almost feels like to me that it's unnecessary, but it's like a perfectionist feeling. So, I mean, I feel it's more or less, and I mean, I can't necessarily say it's a bad thing, because I mean, that's what we're going to see in the cards, because I mean, it very well could be working in your favor, because being in a state of inaction is good in the retrograde, because you necessarily wouldn't want to be acting on anything new right now. But the only forewarning that I give with that is just being sure that you're not overdoing it, because it can manifest as a form of perfectionism / procrastination, because at the root of procrastination and this is something a lot of people don't actually know about procrastination. People who are procrastinators are not like necessarily like lazy, like they don't want to do stuff or they're putting stuff off because they just don't feel like it. People who are procrastinators are more often than not perfectionists. And the thing that delays their action on something is the fact that they want it to be just right. They want it to be perfect. They don't want to fail. They don't want to lose. They want to like do it one time and get it right. And because they know so much is going to go into that, and that's kind of an INFJ thing too, it's like knowing that so much action is going to go into that or so much effort or energy is going to go into that, you end up delaying it because that causes a sense of anxiety. So that's more or less what I'm feeling. It's like it's something that's within your power to act on, but there's inaction because one is trying to make sure that the approach or the message of the words or approach or because it's like I'm seeing it almost like a person who could be standing in the mirror like practicing what they're going to say. And the only reason why I feel like that's of utmost importance is because the retrograde ends on the 20th. And of course we have post-retro shade and whatnot. But if there's an opportunity that presents itself, I just wouldn't want to see you guys passing that up because you're trying to find the right way to approach or say something, if that's making sense. But I don't want to dig too much into that because we're going to see what comes out in these here cards. I mean, I don't know. What I saw, like I said, it's stagnation. It's what I felt that is, it feels just, it's anxious kind of energy. That's why I say ruminating. But the overall energy that we have for the month of November, why do I want to say September, is the Empress. This is challenged by the Two of Wands. Well, yeah, that totally makes sense. Past influence is the Fool. Okay, I feel you, Capricorn. I feel you. Underlying influence is the Knight of Pentacles. This is very interesting. The first thing that I'm hearing is that, okay, whatever it is that y'all are like thinking hella hard of how to get into your space or how to acquire it, that thing is already on the way to you, and that's the thing that you don't see. So that's where I say it's not necessarily a bad thing, because I feel like you guys could be thinking about the perfect way to try to finesse your way into getting the thing that you want, and then somebody's just like, here. I'm just saying. Overall energy is did I say overall? I mean your above energy is the Six of Swords. And then going forward, we have the Seven of Wands. So the thing that I'm seeing is here, the discord, that unease that I felt, that's going to be the thing that you guys are going to be overcoming this month with the Two of Wands. And I feel that it's more or less, and this is a theme that's been coming up for everyone, it's been more or less in the sense of like reconnection with spirit, or there being like a balance within between like masculine and feminine energy. But I feel for you guys, it's more or less getting yourself on one accord. And it's a need with your overall energy being the Empress. It's kind of tapping into that. And it's a little bit of, you know, a school of thought and an ethos, what we're talking about here. Do nothing and accomplish everything. It's more or less you sitting in that vibration of receptivity and abundance. And like I said, with this Knight of Pentacles and the energy that you guys aren't seeing is the fact, thank you, Spirit. This is very much in the vein of what I've gotten for everyone else. But with you guys, it's a little different. So with all the signs I've done prior to you guys, there's been this, there's been over investment into masculine energy in the sense of external action or acquisition of things, and a lack thereof of receptivity in a sense of spirit. How I'm feeling it for Capricorn is slightly different in the sense that, like how I said, there's inaction for you all. So there's nothing external happening. So, okay, cool. So with Capricorn is in the reverse. So all the signs prior to you guys have been doing too much externally, right? And not being like in a sense of rest or receptivity inside. With Capricorn, it's in the reverse in the fact that you guys are doing a lot of action, right? In your thoughts and brain in your head, hence the ruminating thoughts, you know what I'm saying? But there's no external action. But it's still within the vein of that masculine energy. Because, of course, we know, well, I don't know if y'all know, I'm assuming. It's kind of not right for me to assume, but I'll tell you if you don't know. When it comes to swords and with wands and tarot, those are phallic, hence male symbols, right? So even, in the sense of like thoughts, planning, things of the sort, that falls under that realm of masculine energy. So this is an interesting example that we're being shown here. So this is just like another side. It's two sides of the same coin. Everyone prior to Capricorn that I've done, which has been Libra and, well, I'm not going to say everyone, but the two signs I did before y'all, which was Libra and Leo. With them, it was like fire energy, which is like literal, like, external actions being taken. But with my Capricorn people, it's that same masculine energy, even though it's not an external manifestation of it, it's internal. But the reason why, like I said, seeing you guys, like, in action, not moving, but it's just the simple fact that it's like, okay, nothing's happening. And then all of a sudden I felt the emotions. It lets you know how much your thoughts are influencing what it is that you're feeling, right? So from the external world, so someone outside looking into your life, you guys seem to be in a state of stillness, but your mind is going 1,000 miles a minute and thus causing emotional unrest. So the way that you guys counterbalance that anxious energy is with this Empress energy in the sense of trusting, knowing, and believing. If I'm vibrating at this frequency, I thus magnetize the thing to me that are in reflection of this. And the things that are in reflection of the Empress energy is stability, security, abundance, fruitfulness, reciprocity, all of that good stuff, giving birth to new things. Because I'm seeing with the Fool card, this energy is here, right? But the challenge is going to be counterbalancing this very heavy masculine analytical thought energy with this divine feminine energy. And that's what's going to give you guys balance. But of course, it's needing to recognize that, bring that into your awareness, accepting that and doing your due diligence in order to balance that out. Because what I'm seeing, and I feel like this is kind of one of those things where, and I said this similar with Libra, and I feel like I need to tread lightly with it because it's like I'm not at all inferring that there's no consequences for actions. But the way that the energy came up for Libra, I was saying I don't really feel like you guys not moving when you were quote unquote supposed to move, like the fact that you didn't leave the building when the party was over. I don't necessarily feel like there's repercussions for that other than the time that you elected to waste staying there after the party was over. And I'm feeling that same vibe for you guys because I feel with this Fool energy and you guys' past influence, it's like a new cycle and a new beginning is already here. So it's a clean slate already, right? And with the Empress being here, it's more or less this energy is here and it's available, but it's the choice of whether or not you elect to tap into it, right? So the whole thing is, I'm seeing this more or less as you guys with these two cards, with your challenge of cultivating this balance, making a decision to incorporate this feminine energy for you guys to cultivate balance into your life. That's what's more or less going to allow you in your mental space to move away from this little calamity it was that I was feeling in your head. So that's your free choice to do so. You have free will. You could choose to not do that also. You could choose to stay mentally bound, but I don't think y'all are going to do that. You know what I'm saying? But it's more or less going into a space of rest and allowing yourself to believe, know, and trust that things are going to work out for your highest good. Because I feel this Empress energy is what's drawing in this Knight of Pentacles. I feel like the only way this opportunity would be missed is if you guys choose to stay in this blinded mental space, that this opportunity would be here and you're just not seeing it because you're so wrapped up in your head, if that's making sense. But I don't really feel like that's going to happen. But I mean, it's possible because some people may elect to not do that, right? But the thing that I'm seeing going forward with the Seven of Wands, to me, this is more or less taking a stance to not fall back into this old mentality. Because whatever this is, I feel like, and this is kind of going back to the same vein I was feeling, it's, um, it's like you don't have to do this alone, you know? Because I feel like the reason why Capricorn is in this mental space and why you're relying on that masculine energy, it's because there's a lack of belief in, or a lack of trust in a higher power. And I'm treading lightly when I say this because it's something I'm familiar with. It's something I saw a lot when I was in the church. It's kind of like, okay, like, you know, if a person says they believe in God, right? Go to church every single Sunday. But it's like when a crisis arrives in a person's life, their first thought is not, you know, God help me through this, Spirit help me through this. The first thought is, you know, what am I going to do? How am I going to fix this type of deal? But it's like when one isn't in crisis, it's the thought of, you know, God, Spirit, crystals, church, whatever it is that you believe. But it's like, it's a belief in all of that stuff until you're in a time of crisis. Now, where I feel like this can be important, if the, like, you know, not necessarily saying that y'all are in a crisis, but it's like if a crisis were to arise, it's like how it is we respond in crisis gives us a tad bit of insight into our truth. And I actually had this conversation this week. I was saying, like, you know, if a person is in a life or death situation, it's like in that moment, what's most important to you is what it is that kind of flashes in your mind. So hypothetically, I don't know, if you're in a car, you lose control of your car and you think about, you know, your family is your first thought. But prior to that, you were like a workaholic and barely thought about your family. And it's like you realize in that moment how important they were to you. So you survived that incident. So what a person ideally would do is realize, wow, I realize how much time I don't spend with my family, and make the decision to start putting energy in that direction, you know? So the fact of, if you guys are realizing, like, blah, blah, if that resonates, I'm sorry, y'all, my mouth, Mercury retrograde, you know the whole spiel. But if you guys realize that in a situation of crisis, or when you're trying to figure something out or get clear on how to move forward, right? Like if you guys are in a new space in your life, or you're able to start fresh with something, and you're sitting within yourself trying to figure that out and not really tuning into your intuition. So if you resonate with having done that or are doing that, that's something that needs to be addressed. Because when it comes for something that you want to stand strong and firm on, or something that you want to fight for, especially if this is in alignment, like with your passion, it's like you want to be in tune with whatever higher belief system, higher power it is that you believe in, and find a balance with that, because that's where that discord would be coming in. It would be coming in the fact that, you know, one is posturing their life this way, but it's not applying what it is that you're believing in, if that's making sense. And if I feel like that's going to be a conundrum if I go there, but it's kind of like, you know, I believe in this, but I'm not applying it. Going back to like the whole thing I was saying, like with, you know, God and stuff like that. It's like believing in God, but in crisis, I don't go to God. Then that's not necessarily what you believe in to work, because it's what it is that you go to in a time of crisis is what you believe is tried and true. And there's nothing wrong with it. It's just the question of if it's behooving you. And when it comes to this essence of ruminating thoughts, I feel like that's stagnating you guys, and it's really not bringing you anywhere. It's just causing more chaos and more unrest in your life. And it's not having you in this state of inner balance and peace that we have here with the Empress. But like I said, these energies are here working in accordance with each other. This new beginning, the abundance of the Empress, and this being vibrational frequencies that are drawing in what this Knight of Pentacles represents. So whether that's money, job opportunity, new beginning, seeds plant, whatever it is, whatever good thing this is that you guys are hoping for, It's just the only energies that I see that are in opposition is this Two of Wands and this Six of Swords, you know? And seeing this in the place of the positions that they're in, it's more or less saying, in the sense of the Six of Swords, it's you guys needing to go into a state of rest so that you can remember who you are, whose you are, however you want to look at it, you know, getting back in alignment with your truth so you can work or co-create with spirit to draw in the tangible evidence of this energetic new beginning that you guys are having. But the way to do that is overcoming this imbalance or this discord that you're having within between your masculine and your feminine energy, or we can say your left brain and your right brain. You know what I mean? So it's a need to tap more into the feminine. I cannot talk. Your feminine energy or your creative energy, your receptivity energy, your stillness, in order to bring in something that's worth fighting for, in so many words. And I feel that you guys will easily be able to stand your ground on that and feel more charged and feel more confident in what it is that you guys are working to acquire. If it's coming from this place of, and I don't know why I want to keep saying that, if it's coming from this place of confidence in something that's bigger than yourself, or faith and trust in something that's bigger than yourself. And with this whole group, man, that's a lot of what I'm seeing. It's like a lot of themes of intuition, faith, trust, hope, belief. That's a lot of the themes that I've been picking up for these last three signs, you know? And I'm seeing this more or less as it's a turning point, because like what I was saying, where this goes back to this being a thing of free will, is the fact that you guys can elect to stay where you're at, which is trying to figure everything out on your own, which I'm pretty sure up to this point you guys would know how complex or difficult that is. I mean, if it is, you know, it might not be. Who knows? You know, I'm not a Capricorn. But other than that, it's an opportunity for you guys to be ushered into something where, dude, it almost feels like I'm trying to say this in a way to where I don't make a superhero a word. But it's feeling like Superman. Like, I feel like if you guys are able to balance this masculine and feminine energy within you, which in turn ends up becoming like an accelerator and giving you guys power and dominion over your life and what it is that you're manifesting in your life, it almost feels to me going forward, you guys would be unstoppable, almost like Superman. You know what I mean? And I know that's so corny, but it's being unstoppable to where even if there's not anyone who's in support of what you're doing, if there's not anyone who's co-signing what you're doing, this belief and this trust and this knowing in something bigger than yourself, that's the thing that would thrust you forward, even if you're fighting alone, is the feeling that I'm getting. So everything it is that you guys intellectually or cognitively are trying to figure out to acquire, it's almost all of those things can be acquired just by realigning or aligning with something bigger than yourself. Is probably the most simplistic way that I could say that without describing it a myriad of different ways. But the thing that I can tell you guys as an encouragement, all of the energy is here for such of a thing. It's totally up to you guys whether you choose to align with it or not. And you have the freedom to do either, is the vibe that I'm getting, my wonderful Capricorns, and what's not, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So you can go ahead and ask a yes or no question. It's an interesting energy. That's interesting. I'll go with it. Okay, we have no. And we have Aquarius, we have friend, we have Virgo, and we have Mars or male. Well, that's your masculine energy. I'm just saying, pay no mind to my raccoon eyes. We're going to pretend that's not happening. So no Aquarius, friend, Mars or male in Virgo. And we're going to throw the dice that have no name. Where's the other die that has no name? Okay, there it is. Sorry. Interesting. We have Sagittarius. I have no idea what that is. Forgot. I gotta look at my little cheat sheet. And then we have the number 5. What planet is that? Neptune. Oh, wonderful. All right. So for Neptune, we're talking about the golden aura, Christ consciousness, and agape love. All of the wonderful things that the Empress is representative of and what's not, or whatever. Just saying. You're being challenged to become more than human. A call for change and growth in your consciousness. Your motivations are shifting from personal to spiritual. The pilot of your soul's evolutionary drive or desire is attracting outer events and situations into your life that reflect the inner needs. These provide the stepping stones of your spiritual growth. And specifically for Neptune, it goes on to say, mystical and emotional yearning for union with God. Well, goddamn. If it don't get more real than that, well, that was straight to the point. It's the reason why I kept repeating a need to align with something bigger than yourself. Okay, well, all right. There that goes. I love how I struggle through these readings, because I always struggle reading during Mercury retrograde. But I love how I've struggled through every single sign trying to get out what it is that I'm seeing. And when I do these dice, it's just straight to the point of what I've struggled 30 minutes to get out of my mouth. I said to all the other signs, I was like, I just need to do a reading where I just throw the dice. It would be so much easier. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, that's beautiful. Mystical and emotional yearning for union with God. That makes all the sense in the world. And I feel like that's what the missing piece is. That's the missing element. Because, I mean, for some of you guys, it may very well be, and this is, I can't remember if that was Leo or if it was Libra. But I said in one of those signs, like the story of like the prodigal son. I was saying something along the lines of that. I think that might have been Libra. But that's the heavy vibe I'm feeling for Capricorn. It's almost as if like at one point in time, someone had a spiritual connection, belief system, or practice. And I feel that a lot of the anxiety or angst that these Capricorn people have been feeling, or the self-doubt or any of that, any low vibrational feelings you guys have been feeling, has been since you've walked away from whatever belief system that you have. So, I mean, for a lot of you guys, for some of you, it may be going back to an old belief system. For others of you, it may very well be reconfiguring your belief system. Because something I often speak about with like people who've left the church and stuff like that. I say a lot of times when people leave the church, they end up throwing baby Jesus out with the bathwater. It's just the way that I describe it, because y'all know I have funny ways of describing things. But it's not, when you leave like organized religion, it's not necessarily that you have to leave your beliefs behind per se, depending on the reasons that it is that you leave. But I mean, one has to believe in something. And that kind of goes to what we were talking about in the October reading recap, where we were talking about values. And if you guys haven't, sign up for the values webinar that I'm doing, because you have to build your life on something. There has to be some sort of foundation or guiding principles, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a religion per se, to give the chaos and calamity that of which is life some sense of organized meaning, or giving your life some sort of purpose. And I feel in a sense with Capricorns, that's been forgotten about somehow or confused. And I feel that the whole thing this month is kind of getting reacquainted with either an old belief system or cultivating a new one, because I feel that's where a lot of the confusion is coming from. Because it's like the loss of a belief in something bigger than yourself. And I mean, whether that's a higher power or just a mission bigger than yourself, has left one with just themselves. But it's an imbalanced fixation on the self, to where you're cut off from the external world and you're feeling disempowered. So it's almost, I'm thinking of REM, that's me in the corner. That's me in the spotlight losing my religion. You know what I'm saying? So it's almost being worn down and stifled and paralyzed and immovable because one has lost faith. And I feel the thing that's really needed for Capricorn is faith, because that's the thing that's going to keep you guys going, or the thing that's going to thrust you guys forward. And I'm looking down at the fact that y'all have number 5, which makes your major arcana for the month the Hierophant. And I have talked about that so much this month, about dead religion. It's like when we adhere to belief systems or organized systems bigger than ourselves, or rituals, and we lose that intention or reason or purpose or inspiration or spirit behind the ritual, you know? That's how like religion becomes dead, so to speak. But I feel for Capricorns, it's an opportunity for a resurgence, or a revisiting of what it is that you guys are believing, or orchestrating a belief system that's just more in alignment with your truth. But what the number 5 says, it says mental instability and sheepishly following without question. Don't forsake your truth in service to another's. Consistently inconsistent. And that's the thing that I'm seeing here. I feel for you guys, and this is very interesting. I don't even want to say spiritual awakening. It's almost as if for Capricorns, I'm heavily feeling that you guys really need to do like soul searching or research or something into this. And it's like, I'm trying not to be too specific or give directives in that, because like I said, a person's personal belief system is something that's very intimate to oneself. But I feel for you guys, and this is so ironic, it's a reconfiguration or a re-identification of your spiritual belief system. That's the best way that I could put it. And whether that's completely tossing it out, or going back to what you used to believe, or just reconfiguring a whole new belief system, it's like I feel that the revolution with you guys in the month of November is very much aligned with it's like an existential crisis. Is that what we would call this? Like an existential crisis? Like, who am I? What am I here for? What is this all about? Is there a God? Like, what is the purpose of all of this? Why is there suffering? Like all of these things type of deal. That's really what it feels like to me. I'm not going to lie to you. That's really what it feels like to me. But I feel like this is the season for you guys to be revisiting that. But in the meantime, the energy is in support of you. So I feel that whatever it is that you guys are pining over, you're going to get it. I just feel like you're going to find an easier way to do it, and find that peace and solitude come in believing in something bigger than yourself. As I'm being extremely redundant. I just hope that that makes sense, y'all. I pray that that does. Please let me know in the comments if it does. But I feel that's what the missing link is in you guys' life. It's needing to believe in something bigger than yourself to take you out of yourself. Because it's like searching the mind for answers that the mind doesn't have, because what you're looking for, you're not going to find in your mind. What you're looking for is what you find like in the heart space, like the seat of the soul type of deal. So this really feels like an existential crisis, man's search for meaning. You probably need to read Conversations with God type of situation. But that's what I have for you, Capricorn. These readings are so interesting this month. My goodness, I'm never amazed more than I am with all of these. But let me know what you think in the comments, Capricorn. I love your freaking face. And I will see you guys sooner than later. Deuces. One, it would be too much time spent in a ruminating energy. It's having the right tool, but it's just using that tool in the wrong way. It's like using a screwdriver as a hammer. And for my group 2 people, it's old patterns of thought and behavior. that's preventing you guys from stepping into your full power of being completely fulfilled or feeling confident in how you guys are moving forward. For my group 3 people, enlighten or revolutionize your perspective on life, because I feel that one's corner of the world or your day-to-day life, it can be very routine, monotonous, humdrum, and kind of not feeling that fire for life or that desire.